Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Live with Littledata. I'm Edward Upton from Littledata, and I'm joined today by Will Laurenson. Hello there.
Hello. Hi, thanks for having me.
Well, thank you. And we got chatting a couple of weeks ago at the Klaviyo London event, and was interested. I'm always interested in conversion rate optimization, but your definition of CRO is a little bit different. So perhaps start by telling us a little about what you do as an agency.
Yeah, so I run Customers Who Click. We're a CRO agency for e-commerce brands, and the way we look at CRO is a little bit different. And the way I explain it is conversion rate optimization as a term works well on the B2B side, where you're looking for lead generation, people to submit quotes or demo requests, things like that, and all you care about is the conversion. But on the e-commerce side, it's quite different. There's a lot of other factors that come into play, and so we use the term customer revenue optimization. And part of the reason for that is, even when we're running a test, any test on a website, conversion rate is not the only metric that gets affected. There's also AOV. So just from that point of view, we look at revenue per session as our key metric for testing, because if conversion rate goes up but AOV comes down, the business might be losing money on that test, right? But if you did it purely as a conversion point of view, it might look positive.
Yeah.
But there's just so many other factors around it that you have to consider. It could be returns, for example. Like if we increase conversion rate, but all these people start returning the products, it will look really good on the testing side because our test will say that we've made you more money. But if then you get a high returns rate for that section of customers, it might not be, you might now be losing money in comparison.
I did a little ticker tape while we were talking earlier of just like, this equation action, because I think it's important, as you say, like you can get people to convert the site, but then you want to convert a high AOV with a high gross profit margin with less discount and low return rate. And if you can do that, that generates the actual cash at the end of the day. And as you say, perhaps the fact is, or the often swept under the carpet fact is that people are increasing conversion rates by sacrificing all of the others, and that's not good profit.
Yeah, but also, a lot of the time, sometimes you take an action and that action is going to have another impact. So obviously, if you give discounts, right? If you run a promotion, that you're reducing your AOV, or you might give away free shipping or something, so that's going to have an impact. But there's just other things that you can do that you don't realize that it could be having either a positive or negative effect elsewhere. So some optimizations on site could result in repeat business. They could result in better customers generally. Some of them could result in more returns, as I mentioned. Sometimes you might find that you increase the number of people who contact customer service, and for some businesses that'd be good because they will use that and convert them, and for some businesses it'd be bad because it's inefficient. Right, customer services time is being wasted with questions that could be answered on the website.
Yeah, and I guess you made another really interesting point before, which is that if you have a B2B site, the equation is a bit simpler because you just want to get people to register for a lead and get talking to you, right? So it's really just, it is true conversion rate optimization. It's the only first bit of this equation. But if I'm an e-commerce store, to actually make money, because it's not all the same margin, I need to keep these other things the same or improve them. If I'm to improve the overall profit. So I'll hide the ticker now. I think we got the point. But
and so that's our view on CRO really. It's customer revenue optimization. Not only are we doing A/B tests on the website, but we're also looking into all these other areas of the business where we can optimize things for that brand and help them
Yeah.
either make more money or save more money. Right? There was an interesting example shared on LinkedIn the other day about a brand who all they did was they just redid their packaging so it meant that their packaging could be put through a letterbox. So instead of so I guess there's a different shipping fee involved in that anyway.
Yeah.
But also it was lower packaging anyway.
Yeah.
So they save money on the packaging itself, but they also save money on like a lot of money on shipping because
Yeah.
instead of having that signed for service and a parcel which costs
Yeah.
more money, they essentially had like a letter, a cheaper
Yeah.
post, which just had to be got through the letterbox.
Well, and also Gray's the snack brand were one of the pioneers of this with a kind of very thin letterbox parcel. But obviously, the key point is that the customer doesn't have to go and collect it from some parcel depot or block box, whatever. It just goes straight through letterbox. There's never any kind of failed deliveries because it's
And
you know
there's opportunities there because I can't tell you how many times in customer feedback we've seen that someone specifically saying the reason they haven't bought from a brand is because they use a certain courier,
mm. And
right?
they don't like that courier doesn't deliver or can't find the house or
Yeah, various different names pop up. So it's not like one brand everyone hates. It tends to be all of them anyway, equally. Um, but yeah, so if you can look at that and say, well, everyone's having problems with this courier. We're getting loads of people saying they don't like this courier or whatever. So
yeah,
let's not do that.
yeah.
Or
Well, we're
you know,
kind of maybe they're over optimizing costs. Like the courier's super cheap, but they said just don't deliver. So right,
yeah,
literally.
if they don't deliver them, that's the problem. So if you can optimize that packaging to allow it to be put through a letterbox, and admittedly that applies to a fraction of brands who have a product that is suitable for that, the customer shouldn't have to care who that courier is because they don't have to answer the door, they don't have to be there, so there's no
Yeah.
concern about having to then go and phone the courier up and try and rearrange delivery or go to the depot because all the courier has to do is put it through the letterbox.
Let's talk a little bit more about returns. This is one of well, I found unusual points. Generally, CRO is sort of kind of stopping once the customer's purchased. But as you say, often reducing return rate is a pretty important point of brand profitability.
Yeah. So I think one thing to consider, and I should probably mention this at the start. So CRO is not a marketing channel. It doesn't sit alongside PPC and email and all that. It's kind of more like it's a layer that sits underneath everything, and does the analysis, the research, and provides support to all those channels. And also, we do our own thing. We do the website optimization. So we can provide insights into the other teams and work with those other teams on stuff that
Yeah.
they might not be aware of. So when it comes to returns, there's two ways of looking at it. We can either optimize product activation, so we can do the research, find out why people are returning products, like why they're actually returning them. And if we find out that it's because they don't understand how to use them properly, or that they don't see the value in it, then it's our job to say, well, okay, the unboxing experience needs to be better, the
Yeah.
instructions need to be better, the email marketing post purchase and post delivery needs to be better.
Yeah.
The alternative way of doing it is saying, well, how can we disqualify buyers? So
Yeah.
how can we ensure that the people who are going to return these products don't
Yeah.
buy it in the first place?
Yeah. This
Right?
isn't going to work if you have this sort of lifestyle, or it's not going to work if you have this sort of fit for clothes or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, clothing's a really good example. I worked with a footwear brand a couple of years ago, and for some reason, it's a particular problem in Germany. Um, Germans will buy two pairs of shoes and then return the one that doesn't fit. So if they think they're about a size 10, they'll buy a 9 or 10 or a 10, 11, and they'll
Yeah.
return the one that didn't fit.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure that for those people, we're giving them the information on the page, which means they don't have to do that.
Yeah.
And then in other cases, it's just making sure people fully understand what that product is, what it looks like, dimensions, features, anything like that, so that they are making an informed decision on that purchase. And you're never going to reduce returns to zero, obviously, but hopefully we're in a situation where everyone's buying it because they are actually buying the right thing,
Yeah.
and they're not saying, I think it's the right thing. You've got free returns, so if it's not right, I'll just send it back. Right? We don't want that.
It's probably a good little plug for Littledata's tracking for Google Analytics here. So one of the unique things we do is track returns when Shopify processes the refund return. We track that back to Google Analytics, so you can actually look at returns by channel, by campaign, by landing page, and other factors. So to your point about Zero being not a channel itself, but an enabler for your other marketing channels. Often what you want to be able to look at is, I mean, obviously you want to be able to see which channels have a conversion rates problem,
Yeah,
but you also, I think, want to be able to see which channels maybe are over optimized, over prominent in returns, because it may be that for those audiences, as you say, you're either overselling it, promising stuff that the product can't deliver, which is obviously going to get great click-throughs and purchases, but it's not
yeah,
actually, it's also going to get high returns, or or perhaps you're over promoting it. You're selling at a price that at a discount that they sort of couldn't possibly refuse, but
yeah. If you're
they
if
still
you're
don't want
over
to take.
yeah, you're over incentivizing it, so that
Yeah,
person gets into a position where they go, oh, do you know what? I'll buy it, I'll give it a go, and then they probably receive it and then think, actually, do you know what? I don't want this.
yeah,
Um, I'll just take it back to the post office.
yeah,
It's already in the box, right? So just
yeah,
take it back to the post office, send it back.
yeah. And that's not necessarily going to even improve the customer lifetime value either, because as I said, they didn't have a great experience with the first product. They're highly unlikely to come back and buy something else from you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Now, tell us a bit about the U.A.M method.
Yeah, so this is the our methodology that we use for optimizations. So I think after running hundreds of tests over the last couple of years, we realized that pretty much everything we do falls into one of these three areas. Not mainly the on-site stuff, but not always. And the three areas are usability, anxiety, and motivation. So usability is, how does the website work? Right? Does it do a good enough job at helping people find and buy what they're looking for? Is the site super fast, easy to navigate? It's all really clear. It's nice and easy. And most out of the box Shopify websites do this, um, because they're designed to, right. You can
Yeah,
go
the
optimize
themes
things.
are well optimized anyway. You're right, you can do better, but yes, I agree.
Y-
In fact, that's often why people move to Shopify is because they're doing the
Yeah,
basics of CRO is there.
yeah, and in some cases, you have to actively do something to mess it up and,
Yeah,
and make it worse. Um, then you've got anxiety. So anxiety is the questions and concerns around a product. So is it the right size? Is it the right model? Can I return it? Are returns free? Can I, is there someone I can contact? Do you look like a legitimate business? So it's questions about both the product itself, right? Is this the right product for me? And also, why should I buy from you, the brand?
mm.
And then we've got motivation, which is kind of the wow factor. This is the bit that gets people over the line, right? Because I don't know, if I'm selling you a standing desk, for example, I don't know why I always use this example. Um, you can look at that desk and it'll have the dimensions on it, it'll have the weight on it. It'll tell you how, what its weight bearing load is, right? How much stuff you can put on it. You might know it could either be a manual or electric desk. These are all like checkbox items on your list, right? You're going
Mm.
through ticking things off the list, going, cool, it's the right size, it's going to go to the right height, it'll hold all the stuff I need. But if you're not sitting there thinking, I need this now,
Mm.
then we've
Mm.
got a problem,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
Because it's not enough to get someone to think, I want this product. We want them to think, I want this product now. Like, I want to buy it. I want to get this into my hands as quickly as possible because I'm excited about it. I want to use it. You know,
Yeah,
we want people, where the sort of people where they're, checking their tracking links because they want to know where this product is and when it's going to arrive. And they're,
yeah,
almost like looking out the window, waiting for that delivery to arrive. If we can't get them there, example I used in a talk recently. So these are actually True Classic T-shirts, and they do a
yep,
fantastic job of advertising. And essentially, if you don't have motivation, you're just another T-shirt brand, right? And
yep.
there's thousands of them. With motivation, you become the T-shirt brand.
Mm. I think okay, so let's talk a bit about how email marketing fits into this because I think the point here is it's not all about on-site optimization. As you mentioned earlier, a lot of the sort of CRO techniques is about optimization around. Now, often you you might get the customer to some way, like they've got, they sort of added to cart kind of engaged, as you say, they've ticked the boxes the product is for them, but they just haven't got to the next level of like, I need this now. It's, like I've got to just make a purchase. So I think that's classically where you might want to run a kind of abandoned browse, abandoned cart type campaign. And I guess it's important that that ties into the the, the motivations that you think that, that you understand that the typical customer needs to get over the line.
Yeah, I mean, there's the anxiety and the motivation piece there, right? The anxieties are still, what is this product? So I think the biggest issue, the biggest reasons for abandonment are, unexpected fees, like shipping fees and things like that. Don't have enough information about the product, and just kind of ran out of time, got distracted. Something else came up. Supposed to be working, but was just on your shop for a few minutes in between meetings or something. Right. So we need to look at it and think, well, price is very rarely the issue, right? Cost does come into it, but it's when there's the extra costs. Hang on one sec. When it's those extra costs that people don't like. No one likes paying shipping. So really, you've got to look at it and think, well, if we remove shipping from the equation, right? That's a separate issue. We'll have to deal with it. Let's work out how to do free shipping or whatever. So then it comes down to, are people actually convinced this is the right product? Right. You were talking about it before we jumped on with the that tea, the non-coffee coffee.
Exactly. My example is a mushroom tea, a lion's mane tea to be specific, which I'd actually never thought about buying. I just saw two things came together. I was watching Clarkson's Farm where they were trying to make this stuff themselves and they're promoting the idea. And it also had a brand mentioned to me as a potential customer, Dirty, that do this product. So I went to their store, I bought this, and actually the point of shipping charge is exactly that caused the friction. So I'd got as far, I was at a Shopify store, Shopify accelerated checkout. I know I could have just clicked buy, but I was then go, oh, it was 30 quid. Okay, they gave me 20% off, but now they want another 5 quid of shipping. So it's suddenly like that extra sort of 15% fee just suddenly sort of shoved me over the edge of like, maybe I don't need this. And obviously hesitated and didn't and stopped, abandoned the checkout.
Yeah. And it's also the sort of space. So I used to buy rainbow dust from Space Goods, which is a similar thing. It's like a mushroom-based coffee alternative. There's going to be a lot of people sat there going, I buy, Nescafe Azera for 5 quid a pot or whatever, and I know that lasts me, a while, a month, whatever.
Yeah.
You're asking me to spend 40 quid. On your product.
Similar portion, yeah.
So I know you're arguing that it's different. It's not coffee. It's designed to be different and better than coffee. But you're still got to persuade me on that. And if I'm not sold on it, if I don't understand why I should use this product, then you might get excited by the advert. You might click onto the website and you go, oh, this is really interesting. It looks really nice. The reviews say it's tasty. Then when you add it to cart and you see that cost next to that buy button, and you're thinking, do I really want to spend 40 quid on coffee, essentially?
Yeah.
Right. So that's the bit we've got to try and fight, and that's where a lot of abandoned cart falls down. Because most abandoned carts are, the first email is, you've left this behind.
Yep.
Almost always that subject line as well. So the second email is probably, kind of just nudging this again, whatever. And the third email is a discount.
Yeah.
Right. And none of those emails ever address any actual problems or concerns. And none of them try and sell the product anymore. They're literally just reminders that you were interested in it.
Yeah. Now, I think one of, Good time to mention that Littledata's got this integration with Klaviyo to help boost the audience for abandoned carts. So we're not going to solve your copy or anxiety concerns automatically, but what we can do is allow you to email more people who abandon the cart, and that's simply by better identifying users who are on the storefront but also on your email list. So there's more of a crossover there that you can target. But one of the other things that we do, and I think is helpful in this context, is because we send a very rich set of customer information and product information with those events, it's possible to design those abandoned checkout flows so that they are much more specific to the products or the product category that you abandoned. Because I guess again, the problem brands have here that have a number of different product categories or not necessarily large SKUs, but more than a few SKUs, is that you might have quite different reasons, quite different anxieties, or different motivations to the products. And so that messaging, if it is going to start talking to the motivations and anxieties, needs to be specific to the products they're actually trying to pull that by.
Yeah, and if you can't put that information in an email because it gets too difficult to do it on a product by product basis, either send them back to the PDP and say, if you need more information, it's there. Or, alternatively, an idea could be, and this will depend on the brand and how many products you've got, create a landing page specifically for abandoned carts, which just goes into like really, really pushes
FAQs type things.
So yeah, the key questions and concerns and things.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really cool. I do definitely think it's possible to sort of put a lot of that in the email if you just really think about what are the sort of top. I mean, and then you could easily sort of split that content either by the kind of type of customer you think they are, based off what you know about the Klaviyo profile, or by that product category or type.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's then talk about so you can obviously use email as part of the way of getting people to actually convert, but it does say it does need to tie into not to be the usability thing, because that really is an on-site thing, but the A.M Method anxiety motivation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then let's talk about kind of how you would discover those anxiety motivations. I guess rather well, so usability testing and using sort of Mouseflow, other types of sort of screen recording tool that can have a good idea of that, and also obviously A/B testing stuff. But how would you figure out what the top anxiety and motivations are right now?
So customer feedback. It's just all customer feedback. We off the top of my head, I'm not sure how many methods we use, but we've got email surveys, customer interviews. We use reviews. We use customer service. We might look at, depending on the brand and whether they're kind of good at this. It could be their social media comments. It could be comments on ads. Right, to find out what people are talking about on those ads, because either you get really, really good positive comments, people saying, oh, I tried this product, it was great for X, or you get people complaining, right, and saying, I bought this, it didn't do anything to help me with this, right? And then you can take that data, and now with ChatGPT and stuff, if you can scrape all this data and get hold of it, you just throw it into ChatGPT and get it to run that analysis for you. It's so much quicker now. But
yeah, I've definitely talked to other CRO agencies that are doing just review scraping and then sentiment analysis, because you say it's easy, and obviously the more reviews you have, the better the summary.
Yeah, and I mean, some incredible brands have like tens of thousands of reviews on their products.
Yeah.
So you can't go through that on your own, manually looking through it. But what you can do is get ChatGPT to do that analysis, and then give you back a sample of reviews that cover each topic and key theme that comes up. Sometimes purely for double checking, right? Has ChatGPT actually analyzed reviews and given us this feedback, or is it making it up?
Yeah.
Because every now and again it does. Yeah. It feels like
hallucinate.
It very much wants to give you an answer. And so I think sometimes if it's maybe doesn't understand the question fully, or can't actually access the data you've provided, it will just make it up and say, oh, I've done this for you. So you do have to be careful. but yeah, I'd say customer surveys are probably the most powerful way of doing it. Just ask people, what do they care about? What are they trying to achieve with your product? What information do they need about the product? And just why haven't they bought? If they're a zero purchaser, then why? What's the main reason you haven't purchased yet? And this feedback's fantastic, and I'm testing something out possibly next week with a brand, a new method that I've not seen anyone use, I've not seen anyone talk about. But essentially, I think I can get quite a large number of video or audio responses from customers to some questions,
Yeah,
and they will go a lot deeper, right?
yeah,
Because when you're typing something, it's very easy to just type out a quick sentence and go, that was it.
yeah,
But when you're talking and thinking at the same time. Um, you know, we,
yeah.
I bet we're going to have people who correct themselves on those recordings. They will say something and they'll go, "Oh, actually, thinking about it, no, I think that was good," or I think this.
Yeah,
So
I know what you mean. I mean, obviously, developing our app, I mean, we have a similar frustration where you kind of when people uninstall a Shopify app, they give us sort of sometimes a one-liner feedback, but you often like, but what do you really mean by that? Like, I'd love to know. And the problem
yeah,
is, it's getting people on the phone to actually get that feedback. But it's always when you actually get people in front of, actually talking that you get the whys, the kind of
yeah,
what are you really trying to get to here?
yeah. So we're not going to do these as interviews. We're
Yeah,
getting people to record and
yeah,
send in. So
yeah.
we're going to test it out probably next week with a brand.
Oh, cool.
Um, and yeah, I'm excited because if that works well, then this could be an absolute goldmine of feedback for every client we work with.
Mm. And as you say, in the age of AI, actually quite easy to get sort of sentiments and analysis on that and to figure out key trends.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so much. It's been a really interesting chat. And yes, Will talking to us about how do you actually optimize for profit overall, not just getting people to click and buy, but actually how do you get them buying at a profitable level without too much discounts, with high AV and with fewer returns.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
All right. Thanks so
Well,
much.
thanks for having us. Thanks for coming on the show.